Welcome back to the Citizen channel. We continue our look at the Benjamin Mendy, Louis Sahar Matturie trial. We're up to day 35, 8th of November 2022. To summarise, yes, Mr Mendy, 28, is accused of 7 counts of rape against 4 women, 1 count of attempted rape and 1 count of sexual assault. The offences alleged to have taken place at his home between October 2018 and August 2021. And relates to 7 women in total. Mr Matturie from Eccles Salford is accused of 6 counts of rape and 3 counts of sexual assault relating to 7 women. So we'll have a look at that today. Please, if you are new to the channel, we do everything City past, present and forever, of course. The good, the bad and the ugly, and they're not so pleasant. So please join me. If you've not already done so, push that subscribe button. Great to have you on board. Spread the word. And pleased to make an old City fan very happy. If you can, just bring you these little reports. If you can just show your appreciation and leave us a thumbs up, it'd be appreciated. That's a word we use. Thank you very much. Right, yes, Judge Stephen Everett resides at Chester Crown Court. Thanks to the Badger TV News timeline as ever. And their court reporter today is Thomas George. Yes, we did have a problem yesterday where things just seemed to end, but there didn't seem to be anything else happen. So, interesting when these news publications, they put stuff out and then obviously don't finish off things. But I don't think we missed anything yesterday if you watched yesterday's report anyway. So at 11:57 a.m, things got off to a start after a short delay. There's no reason given for that. Mr Mendy's back in the witness box and the trial is continuing. He tells the jury he stopped being paid by Manchester City in September of last year. Mr Mendy's barrister, Eleanor Law's KC, is asking him about the alleged attempted rape of Woman 1. Mr Mendy denies the allegation. Mr Mendy says he met Woman 1 in 2017 while on a night out in Barcelona, where he was undergoing surgery for a serious cruciate injury. He says he was with a friend who was also a footballer at the time. In October 2018, the friend invited Woman 1 to Mr Mendy's home in Cheshire. During her stay, Mr Mendy, Woman 1 and others visited a restaurant in Manchester city centre before heading to 2 nightclubs. During the course of the night, Mr Mendy says he and Woman 1 had flirted. He tells jurors he and Woman 1 danced together and recalls putting his hand on her waist. Ms Laws asks what was her reaction. We were both smiling, says Mr Mendy. Ms Laws asked Mr Mendy if he recalls making a comment to Woman 1 about kidnapping her. Mr Mendy says he remembers whispering the remark to the woman while she was dancing with his friend. He describes the mood on the night as good. Jurors hear that the group returns to Mr Mendy's home where Woman 1 spent the night in a bedroom with Mr Mendy's friend. The next morning, Mr Mendy says Woman 1 came downstairs to ask for a charger. Mr Mendy says he went to get one for her. We were smiling because of the flirting the night before, he tells the jury. Mr Mendy says he asked his friend if it was okay if I tried to have sex with Woman 1. Ms Laws asked him what was his response. He tells me yes, says Mr Mendy. Mr Mendy says he then went upstairs and found Woman 1 showering. He says he complimented the woman and then stepped out of the room. Mr Mendy tells the jury that Woman 1 got out of the shower and they kept going again, flirting and smiling. I told her we can have what we wanted, says Mr Mendy. He explains that this was a suggestion to have sex. Mr Mendy says he asked the woman if they could have sex, but she told him no because of his friend. He says he told Woman 1 that his friend was fine with that and then appeared upset and left the room. Asked how he felt, Mr Mendy says he was fine. He was fine with that. Mr Mendy says it did not occur to him to apologise to Woman 1. Ms Laws asked, do you understand now why she might have been upset? Now, yeah, answers Mr Mendy. He says he next saw Woman 1 when she came downstairs to order a taxi. Mr Mendy says he arranged for his driver to take her to the train station. Ms Laws asked Mr Benjamin Mendy about the parties he hosted at his mansion during the coronavirus lockdown. Mr Mendy says he knew the rules but was not thinking about them at the time. I was feeling happy when I was partying, he said. Asked how he felt about breaking the rules, he says, it was wrong to have done that. I regret it. I feel so embarrassed. It was not the right thing to do. Mr Mendy has now been asked about the allegations made by Woman 2. She accuses the City defender of raping her 3 times during a party at his home in October 2020. During the party, which took place during partial lockdown, Mr Mendy says he noticed Woman 2 was on her phone and suspected she was taking a picture or video of his home. He tells the jury that Woman 2 denied this, so he took her phone and found an image of the inside of his home. Mr Mendy says he deleted the photograph and while scrolling also found a naked photograph of the woman. He adds, when I saw that, I was like, wow, do you have more? Mr. Mendy tells the jury that the woman said she did, so he invited her upstairs to his bedroom to show me more pictures. Asked how the woman reacted, Mr. Mendy says she said, yeah, she followed. After going up to the bedroom, Mr. Mendy says woman 2 showed him more naked pictures. He tells the jury he asked her to perform oral sex on him, and she agreed. Ms. Laws asks, at any point did she say no? No, replied Mr. Mendy. At any point did she appear to be reluctant or not consenting? At no point did she seem sad, said Mr. Mendy. Mr. Mendy says he and woman 2 got closer and he touched her vagina with his penis but did not penetrate her. He tells the jury that she later told him she was worried about her sister finding her, so they got dressed, exchanged Snapchat details and went downstairs. Mr. Mendy says he later sent woman 2 a message on Snapchat after she expressed concern to Mr. Matturie about what had happened between her and Mr. Mendy. The message consisted of a lot of question marks, he explains. Ms. Laws asks, why did you send that? Mr. Mendy replies, I was confused and shocked. Mr. Mendy has now been asked questions about the alleged sexual assault on woman 3 during a party at his home in January 2021. He says his arm may have brushed her, but denies grabbing the woman's vagina over her clothes. Mr. Mendy adds, why would I grab someone in front of people at my party? The jury's shown a video of a group of people dancing at the party, including Mr. Mendy and woman 3. Asked how he feels watching the video, Mr. Mendy says, I just want to be quiet and hide somewhere. At 1:06 p.m, the trial adjourned for lunch. After lunch, there was a change in the reporting from the court, with the Seamus McDonald taking over for the Manchester Evening News. And the trial resumed, with Mr. Mendy continuing to answer questions regarding the alleged sexual assault on woman 3. He says that woman 3 confronted him about what she thought he had done. Afterwards, Mr. Mendy tells the jury that he was trying to get away from woman 3 as he was confused. In the pool, she was following me, he says. She was dancing in front of me. I was edging away. Mr. Mendy says he later gave woman 3 a change of clothes as she was wet from the pool. He tells the court he does not remember what time the party ended, but recalls going to bed as he had to leave home early the next day to head to Stamford Bridge. Manchester City were due to play Chelsea away the following day. Benjamin Mendy is now giving evidence about the alleged rape of woman 4 during a party at his home. Party at his home on July the 23rd, 2021. He says he had previously met the woman and was talking to her on Snapchat during the party. Mr. Mendy tells the jury that he told woman 4 to come downstairs. After they both went downstairs, Mr. Mendy says he asked her if they could have sex, but the woman told him she needed to be in a relationship first. He says he told her he was not someone who wants to be in a relationship. Mr. Mendy tells the court that he and woman 4 kissed before she performed oral sex on him. He says that they then had sex for 5 minutes. Eleanor Law's case, he asked him, did she at any stage say she did not want to have oral sex? No, Mr. Mendy answers. And during the vaginal sex? No. Mr. Mendy is now being asked about allegations made by woman 10, who accuses Mr. Mendy of raping her twice during a party at his home on August 23rd, 2021. Early that evening, he says he had been at an event in Manchester City Centre with Mr. Matturie and fellow City players Jack Grealish and Riyad Mahrez. He says he later went to a nightclub where he was joined by Mr. Grealish and others. After leaving the club, Mr. Mendy says he and Mr. Grealish were driven back to his home by someone who was assigned to take care of the England international. Mr. Mendy says he started talking to woman 10 during the party at his home. He tells the jury that he and the woman went to an office at his home and he told her he wanted to have sex with her. She said, yeah, he tells the court. Mr. Mendy says he then had sex with woman 10. Miss Laws asked him, as far as you were aware, was she consenting? 1000%, replies Mr. Mendy. How do you know? The way she was talking, says Mr. Mendy. She was like, oh, you sexy, I like your penis. Following a short break, Mr. Law's KC is asking Mr. Mendy if he spoke to woman 10 after that evening. He says he sent her a Snapchat the next day to ask if she had taken the morning after pill. Ms. Laws asked, did she respond? She said, yes, I've taken it, Mr. Mendy replied. Timothy KC, prosecuting, is now cross-examining Mr. Mendy. He asked Mr. Mendy whether he believes he should have taken more care to confirm whether the women really were consenting. The footballer replies, they were all consenting. Mr. Cray accuses Mr. Mendy of lying to save yourself. Mr. Mendy denies the suggestion. Mr. Cray asks Mr. Mendy, do you think you make good decisions when you are in drink? Yes, Mr. Mendy replies. The prosecutor goes on, do you think you might get things wrong in drink? No, says Mr. Mendy. The jury's then shown footage of Mr. Mendy attempting to use the intercom outside his home after returning from a nightclub in the early hours of August the 24th. Mr. Cray accuses Mr. Mendy of being unable to walk straight. In the footage, he adds, your trousers are around the bottom of your backside, aren't they? When you're like that, don't you agree that you might get things wrong? For example, whether a girl wants you or not. No, says Mr. Mendy. After several more exchanges, Mr. Cray asks, do you think after that much drink, having sex with girls you have never met might just be dangerous territory where you can make mistakes and as to what they really wanted? No, says Mr. Mendy. At 4:37 p.m, the trial was adjourned for the day and will continue on 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the 9th of November. So please join me for that. Let us know your comments. It'd be great to hear from you. And until we meet again, I'll ask one thing, don't I, play? Only ask one thing. I do. Only ask one thing. Please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.